Welcome to Tea and Talk. I'm your host, Olivia Boughton. Today I'm joined by Peg Bolgioni. Peg, thank you so much for joining me.
It's a pleasure, Olivia. And I know as we talked earlier, I feel a little funny about this because usually I'm the one that's doing the interviewing, I'm not the subject of the interview.
It's weird, right? It's
Yes.
weird. This is a little bit of a role reversal because, of course, you have your show here on Peg TV.
I've got a number of shows on Peg TV.
Yes. So this is a little bit different today, but we'll have fun, I promise.
All right.
So before we get talking, we'll talk about the tea. So usually, as I said to you, I will pour tea, but we already have our tea poured today because I am highlighting a really special teapot that was gifted to me by Michael Dwyer, who was my first guest on this show. This is episode 31, by the way. So he was episode 1, and he gave me this beautiful teapot and these tiny little teacups that you see beside. And this, I did a little research with my husband on this, this set. It's actually a travel tea set. So it comes in this beautiful wicker basket, and it was designed for, tea on the go. And the design is called Chinese Rose Medallion. And based on our research, I think that this is probably a very early piece, like mid-1800s. Mm-hmm. So 1850s to 1860s-ish. And you can see that there's a medallion there in the center on either side with a beautiful kind of bird in the middle. And then there are 4 panels around, and the panels feature, kind of garden-y scenes, and they also feature some people interacting with each other. So it's really, I think, just a gorgeous piece. And it has these metal handles on the top, which probably were covered in some kind of rope or fabric material at some point. But I love it, and I wanted to showcase it here. So thanks to Michael for this lovely gift, and I'm glad to be able to, have it on the show and share it with you. And inspired by that, and by the fact that you told me you're sort of a more traditional tea drinker, I brewed for us today a blended black tea. It's called Elaine's Blend. So there was this woman named Elaine Cogan, and she actually just passed away in 2024. And she had many different roles, but she was very active and engaged in her community, and she lived in Maine and I think in Oregon for a while. But on one of her trips to the Northeast, she decided to write a letter to the editor and sent it to the New York Times. And it was all about how horrible tea out to eat was. So if you go to a nice restaurant, the tea they serve, junk. So she wrote this letter in 1983, and she had no idea what it would mean for her. But the New York Times printed it, and then they printed a follow-up editorial all about tea and coffee and the poor quality of them. And then this woman was inundated with letters, people asking where can I find good tea? So she actually was inspired to start her own tea company. And this is a blend that she came up with of 4 different types of black tea: Assam, Darjeeling, Ceylon, and Kimun. And it is still available today. She did start her own company and sold this for a while, but moved on to other things. So I thought this would be the perfect tea to serve. It's supposed to be kind of full-bodied and for any time of the day, and I have been enjoying it myself. So I have some cream and sugar. Do you want either?
No, I take it black.
Okay. I have said this before, but many of my guests are like, I'll just take it black, and I always like to put a little something in my tea. So you're welcome to take a sip. Go right ahead. Don't wait for me. I'm very curious to hear what you think of it.
I like it. I like it very much.
Yeah, it's very drinkable, I think, and it's, it's developed by a woman who loved tea, and was quite dissatisfied with with the tea available when she was dining out. So, so thanks to Elaine, we have this lovely tea to drink today.
No, this is excellent. Very. I mean, it's like I feel like I'm at a wine tasting, only it's a tea tasting. It's very nice, and
right?
And you're right. It is very drinkable. It's very smooth, and it has a nice body to it.
Yeah, it does. It does have a nice body, nice smell. So, well, cheers. Thank you so much for being on with me. So let's talk about Peg.
Oh my gosh.
So let's start with, where you grew up and what childhood was like. Tell me a little bit about, the early years.
The early years. Okay, let me go back in my file in my brain. Well, I grew up in Rutland.
Okay.
And I love it here. I mean, it really feels like home to me.
Yeah.
I grew up in a very traditional house, a neighborhood.
Yeah.
When neighborhoods were actual neighborhoods.
Yeah. Yeah. That has changed a lot.
It has.
Changed a lot. Yeah.
And it was a middle class neighborhood. It was, I actually grew up on the, at 78 Pine Street. That was my family home, which was not too far from here. And it was kind of on the corner from where Park Avenue is and where Pine Street intersect.
Okay.
And our neighborhood was, believe it or not, a lot of Italian families. And even though it wasn't, quote unquote, the Meadow Street neighborhood, but there were a lot of Italian families in my, on my street or in my neighborhood. There were the Dalvinaries, the Tedescos, the Petralias, of course, the Bolgionis. And my grandmother lived down the street at 40 Pine.
Aww.
So that was nice to have her and my aunt and uncle close by. But Olivia, it was a great childhood.
Yeah.
It was great. I mean, we were on our bikes all the time. We were active.
Yeah.
Our neighbors, one of our neighbors had a pool, so we were always in the pool in the summer.
Fun. Yeah.
And we would just do all kinds of games like hide and seek and kick the can and Red Rover and somebody had a tetherball. So lots of great, great memories.
Yeah.
And it's funny when I run into my neighbors who, like me, are mature women, we love to reminisce and talk about the old days and talk about how neighborhoods were back then. And I really feel badly for young people today that they've had to miss that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a different experience growing up today than it was, not that many decades ago. I mean, really.
No.
It's changed kind of rapidly, and you're right. I think the freedom that you experienced as a child to just hang around the neighborhood and go to this one's house or that one's house and just have a good time. And I'm sure your parents were not worrying about what was going to happen to you. It was safe, and you knew everybody in the neighborhood was going to look out for everybody else in the neighborhood. So
that's exactly what it was like. And as I said before, it I think forms you. It forms you as a person. Your connections when you're young like that. Yeah. And I went to Rutland. Well, it was called Rutland Junior High School. I did go to St. Peter's, so I did spend 7 years in parochial school. Okay. Then they closed, and then after that, I went to Rutland Junior High, and I just finished through the through high school and graduated.
So, and that was. What is the building now on
It's the middle school.
In the middle school, yes, okay.
So it was great because it only took me 2 minutes to get to school.
Yes, right.
So no carpools.
Yeah, convenient. Very convenient.
Very convenient. I think that was the appeal for my mother. And I think some folks are disappointed that I left Catholic school, but I still maintain my connections to St. Peter's.
Yeah. I know you're. I see you there. I see you there reading on weekends. So yeah. So when you were in school, what kind of things were you involved with or interested in?
Well, I was very involved in music because what I did do when I was in I guess grammar school going into junior high school is we used to have folk masses.
Okay, yes.
And I don't know if you remember those.
Yes, I do.
With guitars.
Yes.
And they were very, very popular back in the early 70s.
Yep.
And so they used to have them at MSJ, and then they moved them over to the school.
Okay.
And it was upstairs. They had like a multi-purpose room at the top of the stairs.
Yes.
So it was quite a hike to get up there, but people, they still went, and they were very devoted to going every week. So we had probably 5 or 6 people playing guitar. Cheryl Hooker was one of the guitar players.
Oh my gosh.
So
Cheryl played guitar.
Oh gosh, she was, in fact, yeah, she was great. She was great. She's an excellent singer too.
Yeah, she was a guest on my show, and she did not mention that.
Well,
so
you'll have to remind her when you see her.
I will.
Maybe we should get the old group back together.
There you
again.
go, right?
So anyway, it was her, and it was a number of others. And as I said, the masses were very, very popular. And they went on for a while, and then I guess things faded. Yeah. And
so I'm sorry to stop you.
Yeah,
what did you do?
I played guitar.
You played guitar too? Okay,
yes,
okay.
Yes. I took lessons for a number of years, and then I was able to acclimate to the church music, or well, the guitar music, the folk music, I guess if you want to call it that. And so I did a lot of that when I was in school, and of course I was in chorus, and then I was in ensemble, which was more of a kind of a special chorus that you had to try out for.
Yep.
I was in the Honor Society. I did a lot of community service work. I think before you had to do community service work. So I was very involved, with going to nursing homes, playing guitar for the folks, the residents.
Yeah.
And I, was still very active, with the CYO, which was at that time the Catholic Youth Organization. Yes. So we had youth groups, and we used to go on retreats, and it was just a blast. It was so much fun, and there was so much. I can't even describe it. You really felt like you were part of something, and so that was a good thing.
Yeah.
And what else? I wasn't into sports, even though I consider myself a sports person. I mean, I played tennis and I skied, but I never did it competitively.
Okay, so no real organized
organized sports. So really it was music, community service projects, National Honor Society.
Which takes a lot of time.
It does.
I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot.
I think I was on the school paper for a while, so I write.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my high school, the high school years.
That's fun. Then what happened after high school?
Well, after that I went to UVM.
Okay.
University of Vermont, where I majored in political science.
Okay.
I had aspirations to become a lawyer, which unfortunately did not come to fruition, but I don't have any regrets.
Okay. Well, so tell me why you wanted to become a lawyer. Like,
why
did you go in that direction?
I don't know. I guess I just thought it was the right thing to do. It was either that or nursing, and I wasn't cut out to go to nursing.
Yeah.
So I took a lot of political science classes, a lot of English classes, because I love to write.
Yeah.
And I did do an internship when I was a senior at UVM with the Public Defender's Office.
Okay.
And I think that's what was kind of a game changer for me, because I realized at that point, this is not what I want to do.
Yeah.
And that's the benefit of an internship.
Yeah, you get to actually experience something before you decide to devote many, many, many years to more schooling, and then the expense of all that, and then to get into something that you're not really invested in the way you thought you might be.
It felt that way. It was a lot of extra school and a lot of extra expense, and I just didn't have the passion. I felt if I was going to go into law, I really had to have the passion for it.
Yeah.
So I just said, no, that's not for me. And I don't regret it. I don't really think I was cut out to be an attorney, but that's okay.
Yeah, of
that's
course.
Okay.
Yeah. So you pivoted to?
Well, I pivoted to a lot of different things, actually. When I graduated from UVM, the job market was terrible. This was in the early 80s.
Okay, yeah.
And it was a lot like today.
Yeah.
A lot of college students just didn't really have anywhere to go.
Yeah.
So I went back home, and I was lucky because throughout my life I've always been able to find employment in Rutland, in my community, so I could stay here.
Yeah.
So I've had a lot of different jobs over the years, really good jobs, interesting jobs. I mean, I started out in sales. I got into radio sales. I worked for the old, well, it's now Catamount Radio, but it was called WRUT.
Okay.
So it was Vermont Radio. And then, of course, it was sold multiple times.
Yes.
So I spent a number of years there selling. And then my first kind of foray into marketing was I got a job with the local McDonald's franchise, Coughlin Incorporated.
Okay.
So I worked for Charlie Coughlin for about 4 years as his, I guess the position was, it was like a kind of a marketing representative job. Okay. So that's when I got into the real meat of marketing.
Yep.
And that's kind of how my career sort of started from there.
Okay. And then what followed that?
Oh gosh, let's see.
Or maybe give me your favorite jobs. Like,
My favorite jobs?
Yeah, some of your top ones.
Okay, well, I think probably one of the best jobs I ever had was working for Senator Jim Jeffords.
Okay.
That was amazing.
Okay, and what did you do for
Well,
Senator Jeffords?
I was his official, my official title was K through 12 Education Liaison.
Oh, okay.
So I did education policy in the state, and I was kind of his liaison between his office and the schools, the superintendencies, the colleges. And so it was great. I got to meet with a lot of very interesting people and get their insight on what education was about and what they needed and what they wanted and what they were upset about. And I would bring that back to the senator.
Okay.
And then we would, they would work on legislation or different policies. It was just great.
What did you love most about that work?
I think, well, it was the variety, the diversity, just dealing with people from so many different levels.
Sure.
And I think just doing the work, because all of us were required to do casework.
Ah, okay.
So, and that was everybody. Nobody was excluded from it.
Okay.
We all had to do casework, which means it was constituent service work.
Okay.
So the best part of that was dealing with the public. People would come with all these problems, issues, and I wasn't just dealing with education issues. I dealt with Social Security, housing, you name it.
Yeah.
And what was really gratifying is when you really affected a positive resolution to somebody's problem, whether they were able to get benefits, whether I saved somebody's house. I mean, it was pretty dramatic stuff.
Yeah.
But to me, that was so gratifying.
Yeah, of course, because you're helping another individual to have a quality of life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what was, of course, I was there when Jim decided to become an independent.
Oh,
so history was kind of unfolding before our eyes.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
And it was like meteoric.
Yeah.
What happened when he decided? It had been building for quite some time, but then when it ultimately happened, it was in May, I remember, and the news coverage. And the publicity, and having a boss that was on the cover of Newsweek and Time.
What was that like?
And interviewed on 60 Minutes, and he headlined every story.
Yeah, yeah.
And when it happened, because it had never happened before.
Right.
I mean, he literally tipped the balance of power in the Senate.
Yes.
And so he would go places, and people would just erupt in applause.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to have a celebrity like that, as well as a boss, was quite a heady experience, let me tell you. But all that aside, Jim was probably the most humble, dear, kind, effective man. He was ahead of his time, Olivia, in so many ways around special education legislation, energy. I mean, he was doing solar panels before people even thought of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was very much a steward of the environment.
Yeah.
And he was really ahead of his time.
Yeah.
And of course, he published 2 books, 2 biographies, one about why he left the Republican Party, and of course, then his biography, which Yvonne Daly co-wrote with him.
Yes.
Yeah, she was a lovely woman.
Yes.
And very talented and a prolific writer. But in any event, those were kind of, that was definitely a high point working for him. And I worked for him for 8 years.
I can only imagine, and especially, right, as you're saying, it was during the time that he made that, like, earth-shattering decision to become an independent. I mean, that was, as you said, big news. And I can imagine, you're going along and you're doing your work, and then all of a sudden, like, everything changes.
Exactly. And the security changed, too.
Oh, I'm sure that it did.
Yeah.
I'm sure it did.
And of course, that was also during the time when of 9/11.
Yes. Yeah.
So there was a
lot.
that came later, but it was certainly life-changing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then of course, Jim could not run again. He was ill. Yeah. So he opted not to run. So that made it a little difficult. All of us were, because you work at the pleasure of the senator or the member, I should say.
Yes.
So once they decide not to run, you've got to find another job.
Right. Yep. Yep.
So we were scrambling. And what was unfortunate is they ended up closing the office in Rutland. Jim was very adamant because he grew up in Rutland. He had a house in Rutland. He wanted to have a presence here.
And that was amazing. That was amazing to have, your representative
right
here,
in town.
as opposed to Burlington or Montpelier.
Well, and he still had offices in Burlington and Montpelier, but again, nobody has had a presence since then in Rutland, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah.
And so we were able to do a lot of good work, good solid work, our team. We had a great team. But after that, I ended up going to work for Stafford Technical Center. I worked for Lyle Jepson for 7 years. I was his outreach coordinator.
Nice.
And that was a position that actually he created. He and I got to know each other when I worked for Senator Jeffords.
Okay.
Because I was on a couple of his committees.
Okay.
Through workforce development.
Yep.
So he created the job, and I stayed there for 7 years. And and then we all left at the same time. So that was just how it happened. But but working in tech ed was great, and that was really tech ed. It's always been very challenging, and I don't think it was as well respected as it is today.
Yeah.
And I think that people thought of it as more of a dumping ground rather than a real viable alternative pathway for students.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, thankfully, that has changed.
Yes.
For the better.
Yes.
But back then, it was tough. It was tough. It was a tough sell to get students to come. But we persevered, and we had some wonderful programs. But again, things change, and so again, pivot again. So then after that, I spent a couple of years working for Building Bright Futures as their program director.
Yeah.
And that was fine. That was around early childhood education.
Yep.
And we made some good inroads there. And then after that, I went to Rutland Regional Medical Center as their marketing or as their communication specialist, I should say. And that was wonderful. I learned so much about marketing back then, health, especially health marketing.
Yeah, which is, I'm sure, totally different than
working for a senator
right,
or working at McDonald's. It was very different.
Yeah.
But it was good because we were just delving into social media. And of course I was the press person, so I had to deal with the media on a constant basis.
Right. Yes.
I know I was their spokesperson, and I was also their public information officer. So if there was a crisis or something happened, I was the go-to person.
It was you.
Yes. Yeah. So that was I think I was there 4 years, and now I'm at Southern Vermont Area Health Education Center, AHEC, and I'm their marketing communications manager. And what I do for them is similar to what I did at the hospital. A lot of just execution of projects around social media, press stuff. Just a lot of different things. What our mission is essentially is to promote health careers. In our state.
Which we need.
Very much so.
We need those. We need those. We need those.
Yes, definitely. And AHECs have been around for a long time. They've been around for 50 plus years. They're all over the state. Yeah. Or all over the country, I should say. We have 2 in Vermont. And it's great. I mean, we have all kinds of wonderful, innovative programs. We do a MetQuest camp every summer for high school students. And we actually are embedded in hospitals with this program, so students can really experience what it's like to work in a healthcare setting.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, what a variety of things, all within the same sort of genre, if you will, of marketing and outreach, but such variety. So, in your free time, if there is such a thing. What kinds of things do you like to do?
Oh gosh, what free time? I know. Because I'm so busy with so many different activities. I mean, I'm very active in my Rotary Club, Rutland South Rotary Club.
Yes.
And of course our raffle's coming up, and we're excited about that, and that's very busy. So, and then I'm also on the committee for the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, which I love. I love.
Great.
Very passionate about
program.
that. And we do so much good work goes into that, and we've got an incredible team, and I just love it. I love it because I love to promote literacy. That's really important, and you know, and getting these kids books, you know, giving them this opportunity to start getting books when they're born practically up until their 5th birthday.
Yeah.
All free.
Yeah. I mean, that is an amazing program.
It is.
And,
it is.
And I think, childhood literacy is crucial, you know? It's crucial.
It is. It is.
And it's not, I mean, it's something that I think certain people think about, but all of us, the average person, isn't necessarily, you know, cognizant of that.
No, especially if you don't have children,
Right.
and you know, you're not really involved with that piece. But it is. I mean, children's brains are still forming.
Yes. Yes.
And it's important, I think, for parents to read to their children.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it really forms not just the learning about literacy and about words and vocabulary, but also forms a bond with the parent.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think, you know, what our group is trying to do is we're trying to come up with ideas to get parents to learn how to read to their children.
Yeah, it's different to read aloud.
Yes.
Versus to read just to yourself in your mind.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Different skill set.
As far as what I like to do, I mean, I love to cook.
Okay.
I'm a huge foodie.
Okay.
Big time. And that's really happened in the last 5 or 6 years. I collect a lot of cookbooks. I'm a big fan of Ina Garten.
Oh, yes.
And the Barefoot Contessa.
Yes, the Barefoot Contessa.
And I, you know, I watch a lot of cooking shows, but I just enjoy it. To me, it's almost like therapy.
Yeah.
It really is.
And do you have a favorite dish?
I make a really good lasagna, mac and cheese. I tend to gravitate toward the high carbohydrate foods. And I love to bake too. I love to make fudge or cookies. I finally mastered my grandmother's Jeanette recipe.
Jeanette's.
The best cookies around.
Classic Italian.
Oh, God.
Classic.
And I use the lemon. I do not use the anisette.
Okay.
And what else? I mean, I've tried to get back into golf.
Okay.
And I'm an avid reader, as you probably know, because of my devotion to literacy.
So what's your favorite genre, or do you have one?
Well, actually, a couple of things. I love fiction.
Okay.
And I also like historical fiction.
Oh, okay.
And I've read a lot of great books over the years, especially around World War II.
Okay. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating information.
Nice.
And I like the way they sort of fold in the historical with the non-historical.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Or the nonfiction part of it.
Right.
So
right.
it's very interesting.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, this has been a great half an hour with you, and we're almost out of time.
Oh my goodness.
Just like that, right? When you're on the other side, I think it goes faster.
It does. It does. It does. I have one eye on you and one eye on the clock.
That's right.
And I try not to let my eyes shift too much.
Yes. So you said earlier about why you just love it here, because you grew up here and it feels like home. Tell me something really specific about what you love as a resident of Rutland, being here in Rutland.
Well, I think it's familiar.
Okay.
And I don't know, there's a certain comfort that I feel when I go into the grocery store, when I walk into Walmart. I mean, I guess because I've lived here, I know so many people.
It's the community.
So that the
aspect.
Community, and that really feels good. So it's very rare when I don't go into a place that I don't see at least 3 or 4 people that I know, and I have to stop and I have to have a conversation with them. So that feels good to me. That feels really good to me, and it makes me feel safe.
Yeah, I think that's what,
and secure.
Yeah, that's what we as humans need, right? We need community. We need that feeling of belonging.
Yes.
Of being part of something more than just our individual selves. So,
absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree.
Well, thank you so much, Peg.
Thank you
for
inviting
coming
me.
On. Yeah, I'm just thrilled. This was a great talk. I feel like I've learned so much about you.
Oh gosh.
It's all good.
Okay.
It's all good.
Okay.
And I definitely now understand why you are such a great reader at church. Great reader. So it makes a lot of sense to me now, knowing a little bit more about you. And thanks to all of you for tuning in and watching. And I will see you next time on Tea and Talk.